Snapkeeping this. Up against a Sun-Baked Canyon and a Goblin Guide. Sometimes gotta force them to have it, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Mutt is so good. Mutt is really, really good. Storm Herald on top, so I can set up for either conscripts or Archon. We'll see. It's really gonna depend on what we mill with Supplier, I think. Opponent's max speed down to 18, and I think I will fetch a Swamp here so that I've got more, just slightly thin the deck a bit, so there's more good cards to mill over, or better ratio of cards to mill over rather. They might have been more likely to tap out if we jammed, and their interactions. I mean, the thing is, like, they're never tapping out if they have interaction. There's never, if they have a counterspell in their hand, they're never tapping out. But I don't know, it's tough. Like they also could have just had invasive surgery or subtlety and just not been able to counter the things we play. I think it could have very easily gone the other way. I don't really want to draw the Unmarked Grave, and I think chump blocking is correct. I do mill over Eldrazi Conscripts. I also mill over Archon. Perfect. So we'll just persist Archon here, and then we can set up for Storm Herald if somehow game one this isn't good enough. Do you think you can build any non-combo Asmo Assault Typhoon deck with Troll Kings and Gooses? So compared to the green-red list, like why do you want to be black instead of red? I guess the answer would just be Cat Oven. You can play that, I guess. I think it's worse. Norn, see with 7 months. Appreciate you. Glad you liking the stream. And then Racco for tier 1 for 3 months in advance. That is pretty cool. One thing I don't love about the Cat Oven plan is like the cats make you want to sacrifice your food every turn, which doesn't really. I guess we don't block, which doesn't really play very well with your Troll King plan. Ooh, we get to Storm Herald, put the Eldrazi Conscription on Archon, which is my achievement unlocked, turn 3. Hopefully my opponent lets me get the screenshot. Eldrazi Conscription on Archon of Cruelty. Modern is pretty poggers sometimes. And my opponent let me get the screenshot. So we're up against Burn. I think we need to have Prismatic Endings, answer creatures, and possible graveyard hate. I think I might just play the pendings. Maybe I'd play 2 Wear Tear. 2 Wear Tear, and then Intent can be kind of slow. So we can play like 1 Intent, 2 Pyro. Okay, this hand's another hand that's really good if Supplier mills over either Conscripts or Archon. This is kind of like one quiet thing that this deck does, but like the fact that you have like more than just 4 Archons to mill over for your reanimation stuff is really, really good. And like usually whatever is not Archon of Cruelty is just kind of suboptimal. But that is like for the first time in a long time that feels like that's not the case. Like here I've milled over 2 Eldrazi Conscripts and I just have a Storm Herald, and if my opponent doesn't have turn 2 Rip, we're going to be in great shape. They have a turn 2 Eidolon. I don't know if I'm... Okay, I guess with this draw, I will fetch Shock and Pending. And then leave the Supplier back. But they're dead next turn unless they have 2 removal spells for both of my creatures, and then I can just persist this Herald the following turn. I guess they can have Path, but I can split up on the creatures too. Okay, that's not going to do it. Deck is definitely pretty powerful. You know, it is a very linear graveyard-based deck in Modern, a format with lots of cheap premium interaction and good graveyard hate, but dang, is this a really strong thing to be doing. Okay, hopefully they have a turn 1 creature that I can Bone Shards and then Persist Archon on turn 2. Yeah, the Xylophone adds some excellent ambience to the stream. Tap Steam Vents on turn 1. Turn 2 Saga. Steam Vent Saga. Likely Underworld Breach. Opponent may be shredding some ledgers. We'll see. I think I still just want to get this shredder off the field. Well, I guess maybe the Archon ETB trigger would do that next turn. But like, stopping them from conniving and finding any interaction is also definitely valuable, and we probably won't have too much trouble dealing with their creatures. Could be Teamer Saga. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it could be. The Flooded Strand probably means that's not the case, though. Is MTG zero sum? People say this like a lot. Like Magic is a zero sum game, zero fun sum game. Only one player can have fun. That is like just an attitude thing. Like people are capable. You are capable of like having fun, laughing it off when your opponent does something crazy and goofy. It's really just like an attitude thing. So if they have Aether Spellbomb, I can now discard the Archon and persist it again. They do have the Aether Spellbomb. Yeah, it's really just an attitude thing. People are totally capable of enjoying Magic while losing. Yeah, no, people do legitimately feel that way. Okay, thankfully they can't cast that. They can't cast an Imri. So it's going to be Ragavan, 3 mystery cards. They'll sack the Construct Dimes. Oh no, they have the... They can just Aether Spellbomb my Archon again. I mean, like, I don't really have another line. I guess the other line was just cast Seasoned Pyromancer. This is still like, I get the trigger. It's their whole turn to bounce the Archon. I get to draw, I make them discard. Just draw a third persist. A third persist here is unreal. Oh, my opponent also misses. They miss the cast Aether Spellbomb line. I guess they could have a Mox. They discarded the Ragavan, so we don't know any of the card in their hand. They have a Heat, though. Huh. Weird. Third persist, easy peasy. Just draw it, 5-head. Yeah, not that far away from hard casting, although it probably will not actually come up this game. I think I discard Archon and Mutt. We can unearth the Mutt for extra damage next turn. Intent can get me the 4th persist. Just draw 3 persists. Easy peasy. Okay, on the draw against Jeskai Breach. We want the Needle. We want the Wear Tears, I think. I don't think I want Necromentia. Yeah, you could play Chalice and Zero. Chalice and Zero is probably fine. Yeah, it seems fine. Yeah, it was a burn player actually, but yeah, we did some bad things to them. Let's try this. The benefit of Magus over Blood Moon is we have Unearth and Persist. I think you could even main deck the Magus. I don't think it's probably the right metagame for it, but main deck Magus, like, you can, like, just Unmarked Grave, Unearth it. Turbo Monkey, thankfully we have a turn 1 Stitcher Supplier. I think I'll get Basic Swamp and then Sacred Foundry if I don't get unlucky and mill it over. I don't. In fact, I get super lucky and I mill over both Eldrazi Conscripts and Storm Herald when I have Persist in my hand to turn 2 Persist Storm Herald with the Conscripts. So they probably just go Imri here. I really hope they sack the Bauble right now. They can't sack it to my Annihilator. That's great for me. So 12, 11, Trample Haste, Annihilator 2 on turn 2. Not completely game over, but very good. A strong turn 2 play. Feels Hogak-ish. It's a pretty good compliment. We did do a lot of losing earlier. Again, this is like a linear, high variance, all-in graveyard deck, but it's doing some very powerful things. Carnage, you wish you must. Thank you. Yeah, it is really nice that Sanctifier doesn't do anything against Conscription. It does stop you from, like, unearthing your Herald, though. Now, opponent tweeting currently. How did I play around Leyline of the Void? I have Wear Tear on the sideboard, so you can bring those against Leylines. This is a really hard decision for my opponent. I think you sack Ragavan. You probably just sack Ragavan Saga. It's probably I have a hard time imagining it's not those two. We'll see. Yeah, hopefully they're malding on Twitter. That would be great. That'd be huge for the stream. That'd be great news. If more people could... you are the evil of this game. Alright, we're tweeting all day. You are the evil of this game. That is beautiful. I love it. Okay, red pen. Just a bit of banter, of course. Oh, they sack both creatures. Interesting. The new Twitter banner. You are the... Going crazy, huh? You are the evil of this game. What a nice title to have. I've worked really hard. This is my first time I feel like I've really achieved something, a glorious title like that. No, they're just goofed around. They're not salty. I'm not getting salty vibes from them. We may even lose, honestly. They just might combo off next turn. Like, my opponent can also get back Aether Spellbomb, Lantern. I think I might just cast Storm Herald, attack with everything. Don't love it. But it seems better against them, like, being able to get back Aether Spellbomb and stuff. Just Conscript? I can't Conscript. Well, I can put a Conscript in the yard. This only triggers on ETB. It's not ETB and attack. Some people have thought it's both today. They don't block the Supplier. It's interesting. We are actually dead if they have Land Breach. That'd be funny to lose this game. I know what I'm gonna say if I lose though. Oh, the Mox Hammer means they literally just need to have Breach. Because they have the grinding station in the yard. Yep. You are the evil of this game. Oh, wow. Can't believe we lost. We have game 3 on the play. We lost that game. That's so funny. Okay, give me on the play. Yeah, no you. Why didn't you attack the turn? Why didn't you attack the turn with the Supplier? Because they had Ragavan in play. So like, if I attack with the Supplier, they're gonna not sack the Ragavan, and the Ragavan's gonna help them recoup from the Annihilator too. Ooh, this hand is so close. This hand is. I would like snap keep on the draw. I think I have to mulligan on the play. That one really hurts to mulligan. This hand's really good though. This hand is nice. I'm gonna put back the Bone Shards, I think. Why didn't you get +10 the second time? You only get one swing with the thing before it gets exiled. So, and I didn't have another one in the yard. Okay, didn't mill over anything super relevant here. But what's cool about Diabolic Intent plus Supplier is you get to see what cards you mill Supplier before you choose your card for Diabolic Intent. Although if I place Ragavan, we're going to be in like kind of a weird spot. Lantern also puts me in a bad spot. That other hand had Needle in it too. Dang it. So I guess I have to like intent for Needle. Hopefully I don't mill over the Needle. I guess if I mill over a Conscript, I could just cast the Herald and get something else. JF with the gifted sub, thank you. I'm gonna needle the Lantern, and then I'm gonna cast the Supplier, and hope to draw well. Ooh, gross. Do they have a second land? Kind of feel like they don't. They don't. So one problematic thing though is they can replay Lantern with Emery. Oh, if they pop the Lantern in response, I just needle name Emery here. Actually. Yeah, so they can't pop the Lantern in response, I just name Lantern and they don't have the Graveyard Hate. Yeah, this was a big mistake by them. Milling over Conscripts would be potentially just easy mode here. No such luck on our Supplier mills this game. But my opponent has kept a one-lander, and we have Emery needled. They found a Saga, which is good for them. Have some good draws too. I guess I wait a turn. Waiting a turn is tough because if they have another lantern, then they get to exile my yard, and I can draw Diabolic Intent, another Storm Herald, Persist, or I guess I did side out all my Unearths, but all of those are really good hits. So I think I needled their Emery. It's not weird they didn't need the Emery. No, I think they might. There's a good chance they have another lantern or tutorable card. Maybe not 100%, obviously. I think it's close between waiting a turn. It seems unlikely a Saga deck would run more than one. I mean, I play more than one tutorable piece of Graveyard Hate in my Saga decks all the time. I think I discard the Bone Shards here. I drew a Storm Herald, so we'll have been able to do it on the same turn we would have been able to earlier. Let's just send them with everybody here. So they get a Mox. They need to have land breach to kill me here. They have a lands. Oh, they have a land breach grinding station. Sorry. Shredder. I don't play chess. I just liked the Queen's Gambit, and I kind of talked about it on stream too much. I just every day I'd update talking about it, and so I just I just put it in my Twitch description as a joke there, and I think the longer it stays there and as the description, the funnier it gets. All right, jamming the Herald. Why did I like it? I mean, and beyond it just being generally good TV, I think that most Magic players can relate to Beth Harmon and what it's like to be a new Magic player on the scene, trying to prove yourself, playing tournaments for the first time, doing crazy amounts of heroin. I think most people can relate to her experience, Rice Ball, I think for 13 months. Okay, I think my opponent has Unholy Heat and they think it breaks this up. It does not break it up though. Yeah, the chess tournaments, they really did remind me of Magic tournaments. And I think I can't remember when Queen's Gambit came out, but if it was towards the beginning of COVID, it definitely would have made me nostalgic for tournaments and stuff. Yeah, it's very good that this you just can't really interact with this via red removal. I think this should be lethal. End before his Vapor Snag. I have Pithing Needle and Emery, so they can't get back Lantern. They can't. That's why they didn't activate Emery at all this game. They did mess up really bad by sacking the Lantern, because then I was just free to name Emery with the Needle. Right, good hands. Keep this. Oops. Can't kill the hero supposed to trigger. So as the trigger resolves, the conscripts goes on. You don't get to see what is targeted with the conscripts and then remove in response to the target. It just attaches. And you pick as it attaches instead of targeting. So if they kill the Herald, I can just attach it to a different creature, and there's no window for red removal to disrupt it. Okay, love to have turn 1 Supplier against a turn 1 Monkey. Love to draw Unearth as well. Maybe I should have got a Blood Crypt here. That might deck a bit. Yeah, you could play a Rites. I think a Rites is we milled over Storm Herald. I think a Rites is totally fine to play. I know I'm not playing it, but I wouldn't fault you if you were. Okay, the exile Blood Crypt. Cast Consider. If I draw another Unearth, I'll definitely cast Unmarked Grave this turn for a conscripts and then set up for Storm Herald. Although maybe, I don't know. I mean, they might even be able to tank the Storm Herald because of the treasure tokens, so maybe I'll just cast a Mutt. Probably discarding Intent. Milled over a Blood Crypt and the Ragavan exiled one, so I have a basic mountain and a Sacred Foundry as fetchable targets left. So thankfully I have targets for this. Oh, and then because I drew the land, I can go Unmarked Grave for conscripts and then, or for, yeah, Eldrazi Conscripts and then Unearth the Herald potentially next turn. Yeah, I think you're supposed to play the Mutt this turn, I agree. Rakdos Hammer. It's not a bad nickname for the deck. I like that they're playing Iteration here. Tap out, tap out. Exile Ledger Shredder? Land Shredder. Land Shredder, please. One time. Who would win? The $250 Ragavan or the 10-cent Scrapwork Mutt? Please play your Shredder, opponent. Please play your Shredder. I don't know. Please. They even sucked the treasure, so the Annihilator 2 gets like way better. Awesome. Intent. So we're attacking for 13. Yeah, Lucy would be a great Scrapwork Mutt. Yeah, we did let them connive, huh? No, I'm just joking about Ragavan's like $60, $50, something like that. Just hyperboling. Select Shredder? Check Shredder Island, sure. Think Wilderness Wreck or other control deck not blue-white is viable? Wreck's probably somewhat viable, but you got so much worse with Beseiju, Binding, Haywire Might. Total, 27 months, welcome back, thank you. Have you ever consider a couple Caverns on the board? The problem is that Cavern only stops Storm Herald, and then they can like sometimes kill the Herald if you don't have another creature, and a lot of times the counter spells will still be like good against the rest of your deck. Because, like, you know, a lot of times you're, like, unearthing or persisting your Herald, you know. Alright. Okay, so in this matchup, I've been cutting the Intents for these 4 cards to help hedge against their Graveyard Hate. I think this is how you have to sideboard. Oh, missed an Intent. Okay. Oops. Good catch. 61 card special. No, people keep suggesting Fable, but like, I don't think you want more than 8 3-drops. Obviously, you can't cut Storm Herald. Seasoned Pyromancer is way better than Fable in this deck with Unearth and Unmarked and Intent and Persist. So I really don't think it's deeper than that. I just think you can't play Fable here. Reginald, 8 months, thank you. Come back. Why do I think Seize is bad against Berg? Okay, just because you don't have a card in your deck post board against a strategy doesn't mean that it's bad. However, this is a linear combo deck, and when you're bringing in more than 4 cards, if you're bringing in 8 cards, you run the risk of over-sideboarding. And in this matchup, in my opinion, it's more important to have answers for their Graveyard Hate. It's more important to have answers for their Graveyard Hate than it is to have Thoughtseize for their counterspells. Citrus Suppliers. Combo decks being soft to turn 1 monkeys. Dagger with 10 months, thank you. Can I explain why pending over Stony Silence for anti-graveyard? Well, mostly Sanctifier and Vec. I also Rest in Peace, but that's less common than Sanctifier and Vec. You could play a Stony Silence instead. I'm trying to think about it a little bit. Every time I think Faithless Looting might be fine, Spike shows a deck like this. Faithless Looting, well, I think never be fine. In fact, Faithless Looting, if it was unbanned today, it would be, you know, this is a good example of it, but if Faithless Looting were unbanned today, it would be better than when it was banned. Be better than when it was banned. Ooh, a turn too late, but we'll take it. Which probably means it should stay banned. We'll build over a Mutt. But also, with the whole Faithless Looting thing, like, there is a lot of design space between Faithless Looting and Faithless Salvaging. There's a lot of design space between Faithless Looting and Haggle. And, we can still have these effects in the format, but, like, just not as efficient as Looting was. Looting was just way too efficient. A lot of fair decks died for the sins of combo decks. Rip Faithless Looting. Do you mean literally just Mardu Pyro? Yes, rest in peace, Mardu Pyro. The ultimate hero deck. That would have been a good top deck with the Archon. What do you think of Frantic Search in Modern? It might be an okay addition, being 3 mana. There's not really, like, there's, like, no High Tide, and there's not, like, very many good mana doublers in the format either, so it would be, like, an interesting card to build around. It would be very good, probably, though. What if we just got Careful Study? Careful Study would be, like, immediately one of the best cards in the format, is usually how I respond to this question. If Careful Study was legal in Modern today, it would be, like, one of the best cards in Modern tomorrow. And I think that you need something, like, a little less powerful than Careful Study. Like the card that I suggest is 1 mana, draw a card, discard a card, flash for, like, blue or red, and flash back for 2 mana, or 3 mana, blue, and then with the other blue or red color. That's I think, like, for me, the sweet spot. Yeah, Phoenix wasn't really a fair deck. Sorcery, yeah, Sorcery. Still sounds pretty good. Yeah, pretty good, and, like, a good. It'd be a very good card in Modern, but much worse than Looting and Study, I think. All right, so cast the Supplier first to try to mill over another Conscription. No such luck, sadly. So this is 13. I think I attack with everything, because that's exactly 17. I still have the blocker for the Ragavan. Pretty likely to, like, lose this game, of course. They have to have actually nothing. Assuming they block with Ragavan, and they have to, like, somehow not be able to get Delirium. Think they'll ever print Dualcaster into Modern? I mean, the Dualcaster Neoform combo is probably about fine power level for Modern. I don't think you'll see much play outside of, like, Dualcaster Neoform combo, though. About 1 mana Surveil, and then Loot. So 1 mana, Surveil 1, Loot, draw card, discard a card at instant. I would probably just make it a sorcery to be, like, kind of safe, but it wouldn't be, like, much different at instant. That would probably be fine. Close to fine. No flashback. Scry 1, draw a card, discard a card. Yeah, something like that. Again, and this is exactly what I'm talking about, though. There is a lot of design space between Looting, Careful Study, and what we currently have. And it's just, like, I think Looting and Careful Study are too good. Obviously, Study's, like, much worse than Looting, but I still think it's a little too good. And I am, like, much more interested in middle ground. Did I miss counts? Why did they block like this? Well, hopefully... I mean, I'm still dead to them just finding Delirium. So I'm dead to Bauble, any instant. Dead to Murktide. Not dead to Iteration or Ragavan. Okay, that, yeah, I mean, Iteration probably kills me, but it's not 100%. Looting Bauble. Would Predict be too good in Modern? I think Predict would be fine. Like, if Expressive Iteration is, like, legal, I can't imagine Predict is a problem. Put Flooded Strand in their graveyard. And then they're going to Spell Pierce Stone Iteration for lethal. Okay, cool line. Let's go to game 3, which you get to be able to play. Fuck it, unban Gitaxian Probe for a weekend. Yeah, just like the I top-rated the Canisters No Banless Modern event with 4 Probe in my Arc-like Phoenix Stimulich deck. That was really fun. Would Port be fine? I mean, I think Rashad Port would likely like not be a broken card in Modern, but boy is Rashad Port so boring to play against, especially on Magic Online, where it just like they somehow always take forever to click through it, you know. I really like having Supplier on the play against Murktide, but I think you do have to mulligan this hand, unfortunately. This is a really interesting hand, so we can... I think I just put back the Archon. Obviously, like, being able to, like, if I draw Persist, I want to be able to, like, loot it away. But I think also having this Prismatic Ending for Hearse is important. So I milled over an Eldrazi Conscription, which is good. I also milled over a Storm Herald, which means if I draw Unearth or Persist, we get to do it on turn 2. I'll be sad when they ban Saga and Ragavan. I think that if anything is going to get banned in Modern, it's like more likely to be like Breach, Bauble, or Rin right now than Saga or Ragavan. But I also am not like really expecting them to ban anything anytime soon, to be honest. I'm gonna jam the Persist here. If my opponent has exactly Spell Pierce or like, you know, Flusterstorm or something, that's kind of bad. But when you draw the nuts, go for the nuts. And like not opening myself up to Hearse and Counterspell, I think is correct here. Obviously, I could Mutt the conscripts in the yard to like do it more next turn, but again, I just opened myself up to all this 2-mana interaction for kind of no reason. I think my opponent has a burn spell here, but burn spell again just doesn't break this up. But remember, as far as the whole stupid banless conversation goes, Wizards mostly does things at random, and you just don't need to sweat it too much. I think Deathred Shaman should never be unbanned. The card, like, I don't know. Like, people on Reddit go, if Ragavan is fine, why isn't Deathred Shaman fine? And I just, like, this is not, like, as much of an own as you think, because, like, the two cards are very similar power level, but, like, playing against Deathred Shaman Ragavan decks would be pretty miserable. The decks would get really homogenized. Like, the gameplay would get much worse, in my opinion. And I think if you're ever unbanning something, you're unbanning something with the opinion that it's going to make the Modern format a better gameplay environment, you know? Yeah, I do think Deathred Shaman is better than Ragavan. I think you can argue that that's not the case. But I do, like... I've been playing a lot of Ragavan decks lately, and Ragavan is, like, obviously very good on the play in your opening hand, very good on turn 1. But, like, lately especially, like, when you top deck Ragavan, when you don't have Ragavan on turn 1, the card is, you know, pretty mid. It's obviously insane on turn 1. Okay, keep Unmarked Grave Persist. New matchup, by the way. 3-0 this league. Obviously a pretty high variance deck. We've been all over the place record-wise today. Magnet Lad, 25 months. Thank you. Only 2 more months till our 3rd child, Scornful Egotist. Okay, I bet they take my Unmarked Grave Persist with their scam here. I played against, honestly, scam having like main deck Voidwalkers is just so tough for this deck. Yeah, Port is a really annoying card. I just would prefer it to not be legal. They took Unearth. I think that Jitte being banned in the Fury Solitude Ending format is kind of embarrassing. Again, this is also like the kind of attitude a lot of people have. Like, oh, this card is weaker than other cards that exist on the format, we should unban it. But unbanning Jitte does not make gameplay better, and you also, like, Hammer Time just gets it's a big buff if you unban Jitte. Hammer Time gets a really big buff if you unban Jitte, which is just not something I think you should do to the modern metagame right now. And I really don't think it's, like, much more convoluted than that. Okay, turn 1, Scam Grief into Voidwalker on the play is, like, literally as bad as it gets here. I'm going to concede. Can we bring in the Prismatic Endings? Needle can answer Hearse. We just want the endings. Maybe bring a Needle on the draw, especially if we see the Hearses. We can keep it in the Bone Shards, obviously. Intent is a little slow. I think we just kind of gotta go a little faster here. Alright, I like that this hand is really good against Voidwalker. I mean, it's just kind of an obvious keep, I guess. Yeah, ban talk is also always talking in circles, but I always get baited into it. I think the only card that I think you should really just probably definitely should be unbanned is Bridge from Below, because I think that like linear graveyard decks in Modern do need a buff, and it would also be like at the same time as like linear graveyard decks need a buff, it would be like very, very reasonable in a world with the Evoke Elementals being able to like just exile the Bridge. I think the gameplay there would be interesting. And also Bridge should not have been banned when it was banned. Like the fact that they banned Bridge instead of looting Hogak was just dumb, and then they had to ban looting Hogak again anyways. So it was like I think more so than any other card on the Modern ban list, Bridge was like really, really unfairly banned. Don't Necromentia me. Turn 2 Necromentia. Bridge is a weird card. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that, I guess. I think that's a fine argument. Bridge is a weird card. Let's like just leave it, you know. I don't know what you're gonna do with it, but it's probably no good. I fear that Bridge from Below may never get the justice it deserves. My opponent left the Archon in the yard! They left the Archon in the yard! Justice. Maybe we can Thoughtseize. They just have so many like good hate cards against me. I don't know. I think if they're gonna name Archon, I'm gonna trim an Archon. Just do 2 Miser's Thoughtseizes. Yeah, you gotta teach these kids. Okay, I like this hand. What's on a Mold of 6? Does it ever happen in paper? Not as often as Magic Online, probably. Wish I had Supplier down the yard. I'm gonna play the Supplier here. We can Prismatic Ending a turn 2 Voidwalker potentially, and obviously we want to be able to block the monkey. We milled over an Archon with 2 Persist in my hand, so I'm feeling hopeful about this. No turn 2 Voidwalker this turn either. They do have stupid Unlicensed Hearse though, which is pretty frustrating. I have the ending for it, but the fact that I've like they get to get rid of an Archon and conscripts is Sting Swin. Don't do this. Do not challenge me for a match in the middle of a stream. I'm gonna decline and block. Obviously having the ending for the Hearse is nice, so it's not just game over. PW ending for the 17 months. How is that harassment? I literally just checked the box, chill. I literally just checked the box. It is also harassment, like, to a very small extent, you know. You're just, like, trying to get attention there in the middle of the stream. but like it's also not that serious. I just checked one of the things in the box to move on. Discard out would be really nice. Maybe they'll Croaks me. It's not a big deal. We can move on. We can move on. Do you ever supplicit the Supplier to mill 6? There's a good chance we do that next turn if the Supplier dies. Wish I... I guess I don't know what I'm wishing here. No longer gonna do that with me being out of persists. Can't you block the challenge option? I did block it, and then it just like I think it made me tick a box, and I ticked the box. I literally did block. It's just not that serious, chat. Shout out to the Misers, Thoughtseize. Chat just loves drama all the time. Hardcast Conscript game. Paladin, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. So if they don't have a Terminate, we're in really good shape. And if they do have a Terminate, we are still playing. That Fury scam, that'd be pretty bad. We got up to 3 mana. Thankfully, we're dodging Hitotsugu and stuff. Ghostwave, thank you for the tier 1. Appreciate you. Can't you turn off direct challenge trades as a whole? Maybe you can. Maybe you can. I mean, this doesn't happen that often. But I can look into it. Too much to give the Twitch Prime. Thank you. Yeah, I always love the YouTubers coming and subscribe. It's very appreciated. Greatest cards: Voidwalker, Feign Death. Yeah, seems like they had Mountain Voidwalker for a while. Or, you know, no double black mana. Okay, let's go ahead and Seasoned Pyromancer pre-combat, so I don't have to discard the card I draw off Archon, and I'm happy to get to discard the Conscription. They get onto 1 card in their hand. Big life total swing. Yeah, Hardcast Conscripts started off as a meme, may end up being how we win this game. Obviously, if they can't answer the Archon, it just ends though. This would be a pretty cool deck to trophy with. What's the plan with conscripts? You're going to Storm Herald the conscripts back into play. As soon as turn 2, we've done it turn 2 a couple times. Getting lucky with our Stitcher Suppliers. Speaking of Stitcher Supplier. Okay, so obviously it looks like my opponent has Terminate here. I could get super lucky and mill over Mutt, Unearth Mutt, discard conscripts, and then draw the Storm Chaser. So I'm going to play this first. Didn't mill over anything super relevant, though. My opponent does have the Terminate. I'm going to go ahead and I think just attack with Seasoned Pyromancer here. And play my land, and if I draw another land, I will hard cast Eldrazi Conscription for the win, which is a game plan. I think that's a good chump block, so I'm not able to get back the tokens this turn. My opponent only has 1 card in their hand. They're at 6 life, and they're behind on board, behind on mana. That's a good catch-up card, though. Their other card was a Ragavan. Has a land. I still have 2 more fetchables in the deck. 2 Blood Crypts. I actually don't think I want to unearth my Seasoned Pyromancer after post block, because I'm just like 1 mana away from hardcasting this. I will attack, and if they block, I'll make some tokens, though. Also, getting up to 8 mana means we could top deck Archon, hardcast Archon. It'll be really sad if they just have a spot. They don't have removal. No cards left in their hand. What I haven't thought about Elves recently. We played it on stream for like 3 matches very briefly earlier or recently. I haven't made any changes though. All right, this was always the plan. Stitch your Supplier. You're getting promoted to Eldrazi. Okay, we're 4-0. Definitely a high variance stack. Oh, there's already a league prediction going. Okay. 2%. 2% betted on the 5-0. Casual Coffee was the most with only 1,600 channel points. We have 3 total trophy voters. But this would be a 50 times return on the 1,600 bet. Got a sick hand. Gonna keep. What are we up against? Yeah, hopefully Pelax. A noble sacrifice. It could be a food deck. Sometimes Yawgmoth does play 1 copy of Gilded Goose, though. My opponent did say they love my YouTube channel, so maybe they were playing the red-green food deck. Would have been a really nice matchup to be on the play-in if that's the matchup. I mean, just like most matchups with the deck. So Saga means that they're going to be playing food over anything else here. So Asmo is really good against my Archon, and they have the Asmo. Alright, tough spot here. We're going to cast Unmarked Grave this turn. I'm not sure if we're supposed to get Archon or Conscription. Yeah, I think we get Conscription. It would be really good if we could draw like Scrapwork Mutt or Spyro this next turn, and then get multiple creatures in play, so they won't be able to break this up with the Asmo. The problem is if we brick this next turn. So if they don't have a land here to make a food with the Goose, also we could just like hit them 1 time, and then like maybe the Herald dies, we get the other Conscription in the yard, we hit them over 2 turns. But it only matters if they don't have a mana to make a food with the Goose, which they do, unfortunately. So we really need to top deck here. It's not a effective top deck. Okay, so I think I'm still casting Storm Herald this turn. If my opponent kills it in response to the trigger, which they have to, it uses up 2 food for them, and then I'm able to like draw a Mutt or I guess mostly just Mutt right now, Bone Shards, discard the Conscription, then Unearth. Like Unmarked for Spyro. Unmarked for Spyro is pretty interesting. They also may not know how this works. They may think that they may like not respond to the trigger. They have to respond to the trigger though. So I guess next turn we can unearth this, and then if they kill in response, we just persist it. I guess we could persist first for 1 more damage. The problem is I really kind of need this other Conscription in the yard first, and I just don't have the time. Yeah, I think I'm on board with the Pyro. I just kind of missed the line, but yeah. Then we could have unearthed Pyro, discard Archon, persisted Archon too. That would have definitely been the better line. Okay, so they're going to be bringing in Graveyard Hates. Both Endurance and Lantern, which is going to be tough. I definitely want the Wear Tears, and then I want the Needle. Why doesn't Persist Unearth work there? It just doesn't kill them, and they have lethal in the backswing is the problem. I think the ending to deal with book is like over sideboarding a little bit. Necromentia is okay. I think it may be over sideboarding. The problem with Chalice and Zero is they can still finale an Asmo into play. Should just have more needles, honestly. I think it's just really easy to over sideboard. I'm gonna sideboard like this. You just really can't bring in too many cards. Like, obviously I'm considering Prismatic Ending, I'm considering all this stuff, but you just can't afford to bring in like more than like 4 or 5 cards in any matchup. Any argument for something like Leyline of Sanctity with Endurance? So I have Thoughtseize against Endurance. Leyline of Sanctity could be the better option. So I should have played Swamp so I could have gotten Sacred Foundry. Mill over Seasoned Pyromancer would actually be really good to persist that next turn, discard Archon of Conscription. Chalice on 1 against Script Books minus Saga. Yeah, I don't know. Again, you could bring these cards in, but we are a linear combo deck. It's very easy to over sideboard. Dang it. I can't even use the... Man. The Natural Lantern. The Natural Lantern is going to be a really tough way to lose this one. Damn it. Your deck's pretty good, huh? If I draw a land, I can attack the red. Okay. Let me see what I mill over. I probably just have to get a land here, unfortunately. Oh yeah, I missed the attack. Just a little demoralized by the Natural Lantern, but yeah, I missed the attack. Oh, what a curve. Yeah, so my plan is going to be, like, make them use the Lantern next turn with the Persist. Then draw a way to get the Conscription in the yard and, you know, go from there. But we're probably going to lose. Are there no free discard outlets you could Unmarked Grave for? There's no 0 mana discard outlet you could Unmarked Grave for, no, but you can get Mutt. I mean, this is the plan. This is step 1. Phantasmagorion? Okay, sure. Phantasmagorion. Probably don't want to play. You have to discard 3 cards. I usually do play 2 lanterns, right? Or maybe I'm down to 1 recently. 1 lantern and just endurances. Haywire it probably can't beat. May just be on the... No, for the trophy I can't just mental health concede here. Phantasmagorion Hollow One. So turn 2 Unmarked Grave for Phantasmagorion. Discard 3 cards. It's like almost something. Maybe I just need to discard Archon and draw Persist. Oh, I guess this is a tap land anyways. Yeah, that almost sounds like something. I think it's not quite there. Phantasmagorion, Madness Lizard, Hollow One, Vengevine. Yeah, it's a different deck. It's kind of interesting, though. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's just the Hollow Vine shell, but... Okay, I'm going to concede. This deck does feel like wants more discard outlets. I don't know if that's true. We have been 4 Grave, 4 Mutt, 4 Spyro, 1 Bone Shards. Intent for any of those cards. Hard to imagine you want like much more than that. Okay, sad losing for 5-0. Open to Ledger Shredder though to console us. Yeah, sorry, Coffee. 4-1 Believers will be happy. Hold on, let's go to the Hollow Shredder deck. This deck. So you can play Unmarked Grave over Shredder. Unmarked Grave over Shredder.